Hey, how's it going? My name is Kieran. I came to the US as an international student athlete, and now I work as an engineer for a Fortune 500 company. Today, I'm going to be sharing some hacks that help me transition from an international student to the world of corporate America. So if you're a student that's either domestic or international, and you have a job or an internship lined up this summer, or you're even looking for a full-time job or internship, then this video is for you. So even though I'm from Australia, when I first landed in the US, everything felt new and challenging. What I found is that even though we speak the same language, there's so many differences, and especially in terms of etiquette and how things work in a professional setting. One thing that stuck out to me when I was a student, so when you say thank you in Australia, they'll reply with you're welcome. But over here, that instead of saying you're welcome, it's yep. So these small things are different, and they carry on, beyond school and into your professional workplace or corporate America. I quickly learned that success isn't just about having the right qualifications or an amazing academic record, but it's also about mastering the unwritten rules of business, building a strong network, and always improving your skill set. Today, I'm going to be sharing 4 key hacks that came to mind when I think about what helped me transition from a student to working in corporate America. Number 1, and people talk about this pretty much all the time, is building a strong network. So building a strong network goes beyond having over 500 connections and hundreds or even thousands of followers. Attend local meetups, join professional associations, and yeah, you should sign up for those social media apps like LinkedIn. But remember, building a network isn't just about getting people's info and asking for a job. It goes beyond that. You want to see what people are working on. You never know if your friend's colleague is working on a project that's very similar to yours, or maybe they work at a company that you really want to work at. It's just about connecting with as many like-minded people as possible, so that not only are you getting information about your interests, but you also get information about what's happening in your industry. Even if you're a student, what's happening for students, what degrees are popular, what is hiring like after school. It's really important to embrace every opportunity you have to connect. It can be with other students, connecting with your professors, or even those that work in industry, or even industry leaders. Now, I've said all this, but it's really important to know that having a strong network is not your silver bullet. It doesn't guarantee you a job, and it's vice versa as well. The current company that I work at, I didn't have any connections to this company. It's just really important to know that it's not your silver bullet. Hack number 2 is understanding cultural nuances and communication styles. Every workplace has its culture, and it's really important to know what do you need to do to excel. For example, at my current company, it was really surprising to me that there is this focus and almost respect for individualism. And what I mean by that is I got a comment from my colleagues and higher ups that it's really nice that I can give you work and I don't have to check in on you, and I just know you're doing it. And from that, there is a big focus on having individuals complete their personal goals. So yeah, there is a big focus on individualism. And a lot of these nuances or characteristics are actually found in your company's probably HR book or somewhere on their website, because these have to be laid out in order for employees to go up the salary grade. So I would encourage you to find out what characteristics and what sort of core values your company looks out for. Now, characteristics aside, let's talk about etiquette. When I first joined this company, I remember one of the first things I asked a higher up is, do I call you Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so? And they were really confused. But for me, it was, I was in school for 6 years, used to saying doctor or professor. And so it was kind of weird to talk to someone higher up by their first name. It's really important to understand what sort of communication style your workplace enforces. Well, not enforces, but what kind of communication style is accepted there. You really need to understand the tone, how are emails written, how are people addressed, so on and so on. Now, the next hack I want to talk about, number 3, and this is pretty obvious, is to write a good resume and practice your interviews. Now, I know a lot of students, and I've seen a lot of resumes where the academic record is just really impressive, but they had trouble communicating their success during the interview. And, as a volunteer recruiter, I will do my best to kind of get that experience out of them. But it's up to the person being interviewed or the applicant to know how to communicate their success across to the interviewers. Now, there are so many templates and so many people talk about how to write the correct resume. What I want to leave with you is tailor your resume to the job and include measurable impacts. That's it. You should not be submitting the same resume to hundreds or 200 jobs. And your bullet points need to be measurable, because every bullet point counts. I mean, you have years of experience. How do you put it onto one page? You can't. So you got to make the most of it. Now, going from resume and more on the interview specific side, practice your interviews. When you interview, you're most likely, especially if you're in tech, so an engineer, you're going to be having at least 2 interviews. One's going to be technical and the other one's going to be behavioral. So if you have a technical interview, you probably have the knowledge. Make sure you know how to communicate it across to those. If you have a behavioral interview, it may be different, and I highly encourage you to look at the STAR method, STAR. I don't know if it's an industry standard, but it's a great way to practice those behavioral interviews. So the 4th hack I want to talk about is to embrace continuous learning and adaptability. In today's fast-paced corporate environment, it is very important to stay up to date on trends, not just in the corporate world, but also in your skills. So as a robotics engineer, AI has had this massive boom over the last couple of years. So it's really up to me to ensure that I understand how to implement AI into my current workflow, even outside technical project work. How do I implement AI into managing my time or managing budgets, etc.? You can do this by attending workshops, conferences, or even online courses. My performance review has a specific section for continuous improvement, and I need to log how many hours I spent on self-studying. So it is really sought after. One of the advice I got from one of the higher ups is you are in charge of your career. Don't rely on your company to look out for you, because as we know, recently there has been, to say it harshly, a lot of layoffs. And it's really important for the individual to have a skill set that is not tailored towards that specific company, but they can take that skill set somewhere else in the industry or even to a different industry. So once again, really commit yourselves to learning and adapting to different trends. This commitment not only improves your professional value, but also demonstrates your passion for growth. And this is a trait that employers truly value. So those are the 4 key hacks that helped me go from an international student to an engineer thriving in corporate America. So number 1, build a strong network. Number 2, understand cultural nuances and communication styles. Number 3, craft a resume and practice interviewing. And number 4, embrace continuous learning and adaptability. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Until next time.